let's be clear. Donald was never as wealthy as he claimed to be. In fact, his wealth came exclusively from my grandfather.
Billions of dollars in profit. No big deal. That's what President Trump says after his latest financial disclosure revealed the massive sums of money he's made on ventures like cryptocurrency since retaking the White House.
Well, I don't do anything having to do with my business. My kids run it. I put a lot of money. I had a lot of money, and I have a lot of money, and I've made money. I'm a business person. I'm a really good business person. I mean, there's nothing illegal. There's nothing wrong with it.
Perspective now from the president's niece, Mary Trump. She's the author of the book, Who Could Ever Love You? A Family Memoir. So, Mary, the wealth that your uncle has amassed, does it even surprise you? I mean, there's obviously no precedent for a president making over $1 billion of cryptocurrency or accepting a jumbo jet from the Emir of Qatar.
No, Anderson, unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me, and neither does the way in which he's accrued this wealth. This is from a history of corruption. I mean, at least Donald comes by it honestly. My grandfather also engaged in all sorts of illicit financial schemes to increase his wealth, and his siblings, especially Donald and a couple of others, continued in that tradition. The problem here is not so much the ways in which Donald and his family continue to rig the system in their favor. It's the number of people who are willing either to look the other way or to enable it. And let's be clear here, this is very complex, and you have alluded to the many, many ways in which this family continues to enrich itself in ways that are potentially illegal and unconstitutional, but it's very simple. This is the President of the United States endangering the national security of American citizens because he is willing to take money from any foreign entity, no matter how potentially hostile it might be to American interests.
Well, I mean, most of the countries that we know of have been allies of the United States, certainly Qatar, UAE, that he's engaged in business. I'm wondering, what do you make of the notion that the president was more concerned about conflicts of interest during his first term, but then discovered that, in his words, nobody cared?
Well, he's wrong, of course. A lot of people care. Unfortunately, no people in power, no people who could rein him in seem to care because they must be benefiting in some way. What I make of it is, and we can explain a lot of these things, the differences between his first and his second term. In his first term, not enough people who were working with him had figured out how to protect him and themselves and their agenda from constitutionality. And then they had 4 years to come up with a new game plan, which was in large part Project 2025. So over the course of that intervening 4 years, Donald and many others were able to figure out how to bypass any of the systems that are designed to keep presidential rapaciousness in check.
It's not only the president who's profiting. You've written about your cousins, Don Jr. and Eric Trump, how they're also making money in ways no members of first families have done before.
Yeah, and again, that's also a family tradition, because let's be clear, Donald was never as wealthy as he claimed to be. In fact, his wealth came exclusively from my grandfather. Over the course of his lifetime, before my grandfather died, Donald received over $400 million in gifts and unpaid loans. This was not because he was some brilliant, savvy businessman. And one of the greatest disservices the New York media and the national media did over the course of the 80s and 90s was to portray Donald as this incredibly brilliant man and self-made man that, of course, he never was. And we're seeing the same thing with his children. It's not, again, that they are savvy or have any kind of specialized skills or knowledge. It's that they just happen to be related to people who have power and political connections, and that's what they're trading in on.
It also seems clear that the president will plan to just pardon everybody or anybody around him who he wants when he leaves. I mean, they will cite President Biden doing that for his son and others.
Yeah, of course, the difference being that President Biden and people in his family were actually at risk of being persecuted by the incoming administration. So Donald will absolutely be abusing the pardon power, as he has done since he came into office in 2017. And, it's interesting. I heard you refer earlier to Donald describing people as scammers, anybody who invested in crypto. By the same token, my grandfather described renters as unwholesome people, giving the impression that only people who own single family homes that he was trying to sell were upstanding citizens. And then he got a $9 million FHA fund to build rental properties in Brooklyn. And now, obviously, Donald is thrilled about crypto, which, as you pointed out, is not a legitimate, safe investment. Just ask the people who invested in it. So Donald is once again pushing the envelope, and nobody is putting the brakes on it. And at the end of the day, because of his abuse of the presidential pardon power, a lot of people are likely to get away with a lot of financial crimes that have done real harm to people who invested in Donald's businesses because they believed in him and what he was selling.
Mary Trump, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Just as this is all happening, Trump is making those comments, we also get another piece of evidence that the Trump family has extraordinary luck, let's call it that way, in the market. Plan to ease rules on mailing guns could help company that Trump Jr. has a stake in. President Trump's eldest son is a key player in Grab a Gun, a company that hopes to dominate internet firearm sales. They'll dominate it because the president looks like he is about to ease regulations on that. Don Jr. has a stake in the company. He is on the board. So, yeah, I mean, the Trump piece of it is actually just kind of a drop in the bucket compared to what his sons are probably doing.
No, I think back to 2020 and Donald Trump coined, and many Republicans coined, Biden, the Biden crime family, because of Hunter Biden. What we're seeing right now is grifting on steroids. And I want my Republican friends to just think about Barack Obama shoes, Barack Obama fragrances, Barack Obama Bibles, Barack Obama watches. Imagine Barack Obama making a meme coin, Michelle Obama having a meme coin, and then rug pulling it and making billions of dollars off of their investors. I find it hypocritical. I find it, if we go back in history, we made Jimmy Carter put his peanut farm in a blind trust. And now you have this president. And I don't really feel bad for anybody. I kind of giggle a little bit because he's making money blindly off the back of his supporters who apparently don't care, which is fascinating to me.
But also not care, but also I also think that this is a tale as old as time. I mean, this starts out, remember when Grant was accused of his whiskey sales, and we had LBJ, we had Clinton, we had Biden, obviously. But the thing is what I think's different, and I've said this from the beginning, is the sons especially are doing this wide open.
Yes.
So the criticism of
it's transparent
Biden's son as Hunter, yes, was
and
that he did it in secret.
It's not selling finger art.
I give you all credit because look, they're not breaking the glass.
Transparency is not a justification.
They are stealing out the front door.
It doesn't mean
Just
are we
because
accusing the president of doing anything
Let me
illegal?
just-
No,
well,
we're
let me
not.
just say,
He's really good at making money and has been for a long time.
Lucky. Hypothetically, if you rob a bank and you don't have a mask on, it doesn't make robbing a bank
Is he
less
broken a
illegal.
law? That's the part. Like, he's not broken a law.
I'm saying.
He's been
my point
successful
is,
before he became
doing
president.
something that is unethical out in the open.
What is
does
unethical?
not necessarily mean that it's right.
And I listen to
right,
what you said,
Ben?
but like, I think it's awesome when people in America
would it have
succeed.
been-
I love the
Yeah,
fact that we have a president that was
Ben-
really wealthy
But
when
he's
he
not-
came in. and he keeps doing business
he's
with
not-
his family.
So
there's
you
nothing
would have been.
there's nothing wrong with
So hold
this.
on, you would have been fine with the so-called Biden crime family, if Biden had just been transparent. If Hunter Biden had just been transparent
let me give
about
you
what
a
he was
perfect
doing. Is that
example
what? Let me answer the question.
I'm gonna, you literally brought Don Jr. and the guns
No,
earlier.
let me
I'm
ask
gonna
you.
answer.
No,
I'm answering the
let
question.
me ask you.
Yes.
If Hunter Biden had just been transparent, if he had just said, you know what I'm
Burisma was
doing?
not transparent.
I'm using my dad's
what she's
name
asking
to
you.
make money, you would have said, totally above board. We're fine
If
with
he
it.
was
Yes?
doing actual businesses, Burisma was massive corruption. He didn't know anything about the industry. Don Jr. and guns, a great example.
What
I
does
hung out with
Don-
Don Jr.
what-
at the SHOT Show
what
20
do-
years ago
what
in
do the
Vegas.
Trump
He's
sons
been involved in
know-
guns for 20 plus
What
years.
do the
and
Trump
hunting and
sons
fishing.
know about mining rare earth minerals? What do the Trump sons know about robotics? What do they know about
A
drones?
lot, clearly. They
What?
made a lot of money off of it because they actually invest in it. Let me
What
ask
is
you this.
it,
Have
Ben?
you ever looked in your retirement
these-
account
what
and what
do
do you
these
know
real
about what do you
estate
know about
developers-
cryptocurrency? What do you
Hold on a
know about
second.
rare earth minerals? I'm invested in all those
Ben,
things.
respectfully,
I'm invested in all
I
those
don't
things. And by the way,
I
made
don't
good
know the-
money while Trump was in
respectfully,
office.
let me give you. You asked. What
A lot of Americans
You asked
have.
what did he do? You asked what did he do that was unethical or illegal?
Nothing.
And I wanted to answer that just plain and simply. Because I don't know. I take hot yoga. I feel like you're doing a little yoga too for that pretzel that you got yourself in.
Dude, I love that people make money and they do it because they invest
But listen,
and they
I just
have a
want
lot of money. That's awesome.
In
That's
quarter
America.
in quarter one of 2026, Donald Trump has executed 3,500 trades. You want to know what's unethical about
Almost
that?
as many as Nancy Pelosi.
I'm glad you brought her up because it's not. It's nowhere near.
Nancy
But
Pelosi,
can I
if
finish?
you look at
Can I
her
finish real
income and
quick?
what she's
Can I
made is
finish?
way
Can I
more,
finish real quick? Because you asked.
$144,000 a year.
Can I ask? Can I answer your
Actually,
question?
No, it's not. But
And it's not.
Nancy Pelosi has.
But
they
Ben,
made
Ben,
an app
Ben,
to follow her trades because she's so good at it.
Ben,
Hold on,
come here,
Ben.
come here.
She's
So
literally better than Wall Street at it.
Ben,
Just a second.
Ben.
Objectively, the amount of money is not the same. Okay,
Percentage-wise, based on her
We
salary?
don't need to fight about that. It's just not the
Nancy
same amount of
Pelosi
money.
was making how much a year and how many millions is she now worth?
Okay, but this
That's
president-
insider trading. Donald Trump walks in with $1 billion
Ben,
and turns it into
Can
$2
I
and you
say
guys are
that-
freaking
Ben,
out.
Ben,
$1 billion is a lot to start with.
Ben,
Like a lot.
Ben, to utilize
Like a lot of money.
Ben, to utilize your phrase, the president makes $400,000 a year,
And he gives it back.
This quarter, he's made over $1 billion, 1.2, 1.4 billion on crypto alone.
That's amazing.
What I want to tell you that's unethical is the fact that when you make 3,500 trades in 1 year and you go up and you invest in a company and then you sit in the Oval Office and you tell people, wow, this company is great. This company is going to do X, Y, Z. Or you ease regulations on this company and you trade and purchase stock in that company. That fundamentally is unethical. You can call it what you want.
So should we
What
then
about,
go after Nancy Pelosi with the same vigor that you
so
just
hold
went
on.
after the president? Because she does it for years.
The Wall Street Journal has a news story tonight as well. Look, because this stuff is coming fast and furious, and as you know, Jonathan Swan, who wrote a book about this, said we're scratching the surface of this. The Journal says in a series of trades on April 3rd and 4th, the days after Trump announced global tariffs in the Rose Garden, his investment accounts bought and sold hundreds of individual stocks, according to financial disclosures. The strategy shifted on April 8th when his accounts only purchased 327 individual stocks, spending more than $3.6 million to scoop up Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, and other blue chip stocks. No selling that day. Trump posted on social media the next morning, it was a great day to buy. And then he paused much of his tariff regiment that afternoon. Markets then took off. And guess what? He made a lot of money. Okay. So just lots of coincidences.
And the political bubble.
Lots of coincidences that nobody believes is a coincidence because the president has the power to control with his words what markets are doing. He has the power to influence government contracts, which some of these companies have gotten. He has the power to influence foreign affairs, which also affects some of the business deals that his kids are doing. That's what's part of the problem here.
Yeah, and I just don't think it helps Republicans as a whole as they're going into the midterms, because at the same time that he's doing this with the crypto, and he called it a scam a couple years ago, I guess now he understands it and he's like good on crypto, but he hasn't signed the housing bill. Like, there are real conversations about affordability that are happening, and I think there are a lot of Republicans who would like some help in their districts and their states in pushing forward that message. And it's very hard to sell affordability when the president is reported to call the housing bill a huge yawn, and at the same time he's raking in this money. Does he want to help the party as a whole?
This is the part that
or
really
the
is
family?
amazing. I remember sitting on a show and you guys were saying that Donald Trump was a fraud and he really probably wasn't worth $1 billion. He was lying about his wealth.
Yes,
And now you guys are pissed off that he's worth billions of dollars,
No.
admitting that he made a lot of money. It's like the definition of hypocrisy.
No,
it's like
it's not.
Donald Trump's not really rich.
No.
Damn it, now he's
I don't
too
know.
rich. Like, which one is it?
Hold on,
What's
hold
the
on,
outrage
Ben.
of
Hold on a
today?
second, Ben. I don't
Like,
think
it is
Are
pretty
you?
funny.
Do you know what hypocrisy really means?
When you
Because
say that
that's
Donald
not what
Trump's
it
not
means.
rich and you say he's lying when he's
No.
running and then
Well,
he actually is
here's-
rich and then he makes more money and now you're mad about it?
But
Like, that's hypocrisy.
Here's what we're really talking about here. We're talking about Trump in 2024 bringing in $600 million from his businesses. And the very next year, the only thing that's changed is he suddenly is president. And that jumps to $2.2 billion. That's not being
Well,
a
when you
good
take a risk
businessman.
investment like
That's
crypto,
not,
you
that's
get
not,
wins.
that's not playing the market.
That's
Those are
But a lot
gains
of
that
people-
no
Go,
one
wait,
is
wait.
Hold on,
getting.
but a lot of people that
but
went
the
into crypto,
president,
a lot of
okay?
people that are liberal, you
Hold
go to
on.
Soros's. They've
This
made a
isn't-
lot of money off
I
crypto.
just want to
This
be
is- Are we
gonna say that
really.
this
I
is
want to
corrupt?
be really clear about what we're talking about when we say crypto. You heard in the clip, President Trump claimed that he didn't know anything about it. That we know is not true because the reason he made much of the money on crypto is because just a few days before the election, the inauguration, he started advertising these crypto meme tokens.
Yes.
That is where he is getting the crypto money from. He personally
Correct.
did that. So he knows where he got that money
that's not
from.
where he's
he
getting a
knows
lot of the money.
No. That was $600 million.
I know, but the real
in
wealth
crypto
is from the
No,
World Liberty.
That
Which
is
is
the
still- which is
biggest, the
still a scam.
largest, the largest chunk of this is the $600 million from the sales of the transaction sales of the meme coin.
So
he
is
did
it-
make
Wait,
he
there's
did make
nothing
a lot
wrong
of
with that.
money.
But
By the way,
let me
is it,
just- can I
here's my
just-
question though. Is
He
it
did make a lot of
jealousy?
money
No.
from
Or
the
is it, or
world's
did he commit a crime?
financial.
Did he commit a crime?
I-
Can I
It's just
answer-
jealousy. People
can I
are
answer- can I
y'all are
answer, Ben?
jealous that he made
Can I-
a lot of money.
Can I answer, Ben?
Ben.
So nobody is. It's not jealousy. What
Yeah,
we're-
it is.
I'm gonna make one complete sentence, and you're not going to real quick. So it's not jealousy. What we're talking about is, and it's not hypocrisy. What we're saying though is that Donald Trump is corrupt, and Donald Trump is a grifter. And the way that he made his money, for example, I want to talk to you about the Trump meme coin. There were 1 million wallets that have experienced net losses of $4.5 billion. It was a rug and pull. Like, that is what it was. The Melania meme coin. If you invested $10,000 in the Melania meme coin at its height, you now have 90 cents. So it's not a genius move.